Okay, then let us start. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So we just started seeing the sixth chapter, the first few verses, 4-5 verses we have seen. Yep. Uddhared Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadayed. Up to now, any questions or clarifications? Or is it all clear?
Clear, Swami.
Clear? Okay. About self-esteem, how to develop, all that thing is fine. Okay? Yeah. Okay, then going ahead. In fact, you will find that quite a few verses in this chapter are dealing with the meditator more than the meditation. As in anything, any practice. The person is more important than the activity. Is the person set up right? We always say, in martial arts, the hand that wields the sword is more important than the sword itself. Yeah. Who's the person who is doing something? So you'll find quite a few verses dealing with the person. Okay? And that's important to keep in mind. Okay. Then going further, he says, बंधुरात्मा मनस्तस्य येनै आत्मैवम् आत्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तते वैव शत्रुवत्. The one who has mastered himself, he says. The one who has mastered himself. Okay? Bandhuru Atma Atmanasya Yena Atmaiva Atmana Jitaha. The one who has mastered oneself. Okay? That Atma is your friend. Atma here means mind. Okay? Atmanaha Jitaha, by the friend who has won, by the person who has won. What? Atma meaning mind here. Okay? Atmaha Jitaha meaning mind is mastered. The one whose mind is mastered, he says that mind is a bandhu, a well-wisher. Okay? Don't translate just relative. Okay? All relatives need not be well-wishers. As it is universal experience for everyone, I'm sure. Okay? Yeah. But whatever, for what it's worth, okay? Bandhu, a well-wisher. Okay? Anatmanastu shatrutve vartatve. Shatru eva shatruvat. Whereas one whose mind is not mastered, that mind is like your own enemy. Why? You want to do something. Simple. Nice weather now, beautiful weather. You think you'll get up early morning and do some meditation, some pranayama, whatever. Good time. Okay. People get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go for a walk. At 5 o'clock in the morning, instead of going for a walk, that is the best time to do some pranayama and meditate and go for a walk later. Okay. Yeah. Go for a walk later. In fact, in winter time with the pollution, it is always better to go for a walk after the atmosphere has warmed up. Because in the night the atmosphere becomes cool, the pollutants remain closer to the ground level. When you are walking, you are inhaling all those pollutions. Bad. Okay? So that time within your room with all the windows closed, etc., do some pranayama, some energy work, some meditation, etc. Go for a walk after the sun has come up. Okay, because then you are not breathing in so much of the pollution. The sun has warmed up the air, the pollutions are rising upwards. Yeah, simple, simple thing to keep in mind. Simple things to keep in mind, especially during if the weather is bad. Bad meaning weather is good, okay, but the pollution is an issue. Weather is always good, pollution is an issue. Okay. Anyway, that apart, you are decided to do this. You have kept the alarm also at 5 o'clock. You have taken care to see that you have gone to sleep by 10:30, 11, whatever, earlier than your normal time. And what happens when the alarm rings? Very convenient nowadays, because everyone keeps nobody uses an alarm clock anymore. It's all on the phone. And the phone always has a snooze button. So you snooze. Okay. Understandable, 10 minutes. Okay. Then after 10 minutes it goes on again. Another snooze. Another snooze. Finally by the time you get up it's 7 o'clock. And you have not had a good night's sleep also. Because last 2 hours, every 10 minutes you are waking up. Your own mind is not allowing you to carry out what it has decided. You say, I don't have willpower. It is nothing to do with willpower, it is something to do with your integrity. That's why I said one of the pillars is to live with integrity. Have a value structure and follow it. Thought, word and deed are aligned. Here thought and word is aligned, deed is not aligned. Thought and word was to get up in the morning and do something. Deed is not aligned. Deed is not aligned. Yeah. It is only lack of that. Very, very often lack of integrity is mistaken to be lack of will. Because we know what is right, we can't always live up to it. I accept the human condition. We cannot always live up to that. Therefore, what do? Be honest with yourself. You are doing something which is not very correct, okay? At least be honest enough to say, yes, I am doing something wrong. Don't justify it. Don't make excuses for yourself. Be very clear. This is not the best of actions. I have done it. And what is making you do it? What is making you do it? Your own desires, which Krishna will say in the verses to come. Your own things. Yeah. Your own desires, your own comfort orientation, your fear for change. There are a lot of workshops and training programs available for all this. But unless you put it into your life, nothing will work. Nothing will work. It's very interesting. A few days back, I met someone, an acquaintance. Okay. When I first came to Bombay to teach, I used to attend all these type of programs, workshops, training programs, that, because I wanted to know what is available in the society, what is going around in the society that I may have to tackle. I may have to speak for, against, or put people on a corrective tone. I may have to do that. So I said, let me attend it. And I used to see some people in every workshop, every training program, every public program, private program, paid program, unpaid program. So a few handful will always be there. And I don't see any great change happening in them. So recently I met somebody after 30 years. And the person is the same. 30 years. So I said, what do you, I asked her, what do you do? No, no, some interesting programs are happening in this, it's all online. I'll send you some links. I said, please don't. I've been there, done that enough. I know what's happening in society. To live by what you know. Very important. But dharma is so huge. How do you know what is right and wrong? How do you know? You study. That's what the whole Gita is about for. No? Study, understand. Understand. But that takes time. Correct, that takes time. So what to do in the meantime? There is a very interesting thing put up by in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a graduation speech. Okay? There is a graduation speech by this teacher. It is in the Taittiriya Upanishad, in the first section, Sikshavali itself. So he makes a very interesting comment. Says, Yadi te dharma vichikitsasyum, karma vichikitsavasyum. Is there, if you have a conflict with respect to dharma, with respect to karma, etc., what can you do? He says, find a person who is dharma kamasyum, who is committed to dharma in that person's life. Okay. Alukshaha dharma, who is not a cruel person, who is not harsh and judgmental, who has got compassion. But don't mistake this. Even compassionate people can be tough sometimes, okay? if they think the toughness is required. Okay. Yeah. But alukshaha, not cruel. Okay. Dharma kamasya. And find him in society, not somebody sitting in the Himalayas who doesn't know what the society is about. Who's contemporary enough to know what's happening in today's society. And yatha te varteran tate tvam vartetaha. How that person lives, you follow, or you discuss with him the problem, and him or her, okay, and do it accordingly. Therefore, dharma vichikitsa, I think all my students know enough to handle it. Okay. The question is, how much integrity is there in terms of putting it into your life? Once you do that, this problem of the mind undercutting you will not be there. Otherwise, our own minds undercut us, which is tragic, which is a tragical thing. The mind, which is supposed to be an instrument in my hand, is becoming my own enemy. It is like in the States, there is this huge thing called the Second Amendment, which allows the US citizen the right to carry arms. Okay? It's a right given. This right was given after the American Civil War. Okay? That's when that amendment first took place, American Civil War, where all the Southern Army was disbanded. Okay? All of them, the soldiers, the officers, all of them were allowed to keep their sidearms. Sidearms are generally your pistols, etc. Revolvers, pistols, etc. They are allowed to keep. So even now, there is a big debate going on about gun control, etc. That is not what I am talking about. What I am saying is, everyone is allowed to carry a weapon. If you want to carry a revolver or a pistol, okay, you can carry it. But then the experts will always say, never carry one unless you are prepared to use it. Never carry one unless you have been trained to use it. Otherwise, your own weapon will be used against you. Your attacker will grab your weapon and shoot you with it. So never carry one unless you are trained to use it. Similarly, your mind. Now I can't say never carry one because you already have it. You are already carrying a mind. Why are you letting it become your enemy? Why are you letting it be your enemy? Yeah. You should learn to handle that mind so that the mind truly becomes an instrument in your hands. Okay. Truly becomes an instrument in your hand. Yeah, you know how to handle it. If you can handle it, it's an instrument. That's all there is there to it. But this lack of integrity comes in because I take the mind as myself. Since I take the mind as myself, saying no to the mind or disciplining the mind is like disciplining myself. So that's uncomfortable. I'm denying myself certain things. We don't look upon it as denying my mind something. We look upon it as denying myself. There's a big difference between the two. There's a big difference between the two. Okay. So, if you have had some basic Atma Anatma Viveka, like what we have had, we had a lot of it. We have had a lot of it. So, if you have had that basic Atma Anatma Viveka, the recognition of what is independent and what is not independent. I, the Atma, I am really the independent entity. Mind, etc. are instruments. An instrument does not function by itself. If this basic understanding is there, it is easier to master that mind. It's much easier to handle that mind, to master that mind, etc. And it is that mastered mind that helps you anyway. Whether it's a simple thing like getting up and going for a walk, getting up and practicing yoga or doing some meditation, or parenting issues, anything. That basic integrity helps right through that mastery of the mind. That is why Krishna is spending so much on time, because this mind, you have to make it meditate. This mind that is used to jumping around, and the mind must be jumping around, okay? You can't say my mind is changing fast, I don't know what to do. If the mind was not changing fast, there will be a problem for you. You saw a tree, then you turn, there is an elephant, you saw the elephant. So the tree image must go, the elephant image must be there. Then the elephant image must go, I saw a girl. That image should be there. If the mind is slow in changing, what will happen? You won't know whether the elephant is on top of the tree or the tree is on top of the elephant, and the girl and the elephant and the tree all mixed up. Why? It's not dropping and changing. So the quickness of our perception is dependent on the quickness of the mind. So if my mind does not change fast, it will be a problem. It will be a problem. Yeah. Therefore, don't say mind is changing fast. That's just dharma. But the mind also has an ability. The mind also has an ability to remain where you keep it. That is not very often developed by us. Ask your children's teachers when they are teaching on online like this, they will tell you they have to be entertainers as well as teachers to keep the kids' minds with them. Yeah. They keep the mind with them. Yeah. Because their focus could do with some more focus. Okay, to put it in martial art language. Yeah, same way here. Okay. All right. Then little bit. What is this Chitatma about? Mastering the mind. What is it about? That he says in the next verse. Okay. There's the seventh verse. Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahitaha शीतोष्ण सुख दुखेशु तथा मानव आनयोः. Jitatmanaha, one who has mastered one's mind. Therefore, prashantasya, shanta, naturally quite peaceful. Yeah. Nobody holds a hammer in their hand and says, Swamiji, I don't know what to do. Hammer is keeping on hitting itself. But look, you say that about your mind. Yeah, prashantaha. When you want the mind to think, it will think. When you don't want it to think, it won't think. It's okay. Yeah. Prashantasya. Paramatma samahitaha. Okay. Samahitaha. Paramatma samahitaha. You can take it in various ways. Okay. Okay. That this is the mind that's going to recognize the Atma. This is the mind that's going to be resolved in the Paramatma. This is the mind that's going to recognize the Paramatma. Therefore, samahitaha, mastered. How do you know you're mastered? Sitoshna sukhe dukkeshu tatha manava manayoho samahitaha. It is composed. It is composed where? Sitoshnam, hot and cold. In heat and cold, you know, in Bombay also people are cribbing. Mummy, it's getting cold, it is getting cold. I said, Bombay is getting cold? Bombay, we pretend there is a winter. Ask the people from Delhi. I can say Gunjan here, she is from Delhi. Okay. Yeah. Delhi, Gunjan, what are the night temperatures in Delhi now?
Touching 4 degrees, Swami.
4 degrees, yes.
We've had, I think, 4 cold waves.
Yeah, 4 cold days. 4 degrees. Bombay is 16. Night temperatures. Nice weather. Sometimes I go for a walk after dinner also. Why? Arey, enjoy the cold here. Bombay, where do you get such nice weather? And summer we are cribbing about the heat. Again, ask Delhi people what the heat is in summer there. In 40s. That is nothing. One of my friends is from Calgary in Canada. Winter temperatures minus 40 degrees. I have promised my students I will take them to Gomukh. I have not yet fulfilled that promise. So maybe in 21 or 22 we will do that. And those who, if you want to have a dip in Gomukh, I will help you all to have a dip also. Yeah. Last time I took about 5-6 people had a dip. Out of 30, 5-6 had a dip. Okay. About 20%. Okay. You put a mug of water up, there will be pieces of ice floating in it. We all had it. I mean, some of us had a dip. Good fun. Swamiji, what are you talking? I need cold water. I need hot water in Bombay. Sitoshnam, heat and cold. Naturally, if it is hot, put the fan on, put the AC on. Perfectly okay. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong in it. You don't have to torture yourself. But you have to learn to take it in your stride. One winter camp we will have in Rishikesh. Okay, one winter camp. Maybe end Jan or something like that. Next year, not this. Not 21, the one after that. 21 camp is online, okay? Last weekend of Jan, there's an online camp. The year after that. because I want you all to see the clear blue waters of the Ganga and all. It's beautiful. And eat some nice paneer pakoras. This is all you won't get in Bombay. The way they make it in Rishikesh, you will not get. All that can be available only in winter there. Samajhi, it will be cold. Of course, if Delhi is 4 degrees, Rishikesh will be 1 or 2 degrees colder. Samajhi, is there central heating? In some rooms, there is central heating. What is central heating? One small little electrical heater can be kept in the center of the room. Which will work if the power is on. Okay, not otherwise. So, if you don't have it, can you take it in your stride? Yeah, put on an extra sweater, take it in your stride. Not to crib about it. That's the idea. Actually, people from Bombay are not used to the cold. You will struggle a bit, but can you take it in your stride? Similarly, heat. Can you take it in your stride? You can. It's only believe that you can't. Yeah. If you say, so what? Fine. Take it in your stride. That's all. Yeah. Once I did a desert trek, just for the fun of it, okay? Thar desert. We trekked. It's great fun. It's hot. Of course it is hot. What do you expect? It's a desert. So Himalayas trekking is also fun. Thar desert is a different experience. It's equally fun. Be able to take it in your stride. That's what we call mastered mind. Sukha dukkheshu, he says. Events which are considered happy and unhappy. There will be events which are conducive to you, therefore you will be happy in it. And there will be events which are not conducive, you will be unhappy in it. Again, we are not saying don't be happy, don't be unhappy. We are not teaching stoicism. We are not making you stoic philosophers. No. But can you take it in your stride? That's the idea. Prasada buddhya. If it is heat, prasada buddhi. If cold, prasada buddhi. If it is sukham, prasada buddhi. Aaj laddu mil gaya. If it is dukkha, prasada buddhi. What do you get today? Ashes. Laga do. Aur kuch nahi mila. Prasada buddhi right through. That is the best sadhana I have seen. And to develop a little bit of emotional toughness. It's important. It's important. If you can do that, then it'll really be good. Okay? Mastered mind. You are sure it is. Tatha mana apamana yoho. People are coming and praising you. Your Indra, Chandra, etc. You know? All sorts of praise they are giving you. You feel good about it. Who doesn't feel good when you are praised? Everyone will feel good. That's okay. But can you prevent yourself being carried away with it? Everyone who praises you may not be your well-wisher, okay? That doesn't mean you have to be suspicious. What is he after? He may be giving you a honest compliment, okay? Take it in your stride. Now, because you're spiritual, you don't have to say, no, not really, and all when somebody praises you. Okay? Thank you. Nice of you to say that. Enough. Manam. Apamanam. Somebody insults you. You fret and fume for 3 days. Yeah. Somebody insults you, that's his perception here. India is a free country. Democracy is still alive in India. Very much alive. How much is our Prime Minister being abused? Left, right and center by everyone. He doesn't bother. He does what he has to do. Yeah. Similarly, why are you bothered? Somebody says, you're an idiot. Thank you. That's your perception. But no thanks at the same time. Because I don't want to take it. Why should I take it? Thanks but no thanks. That's it when it comes to an insult. Yeah. So are you getting the idea? This being able to take things in your stride. I'm not saying you'll be very happy when somebody insults you. I'm not saying that. Of course you don't like when somebody insults you. How can you like that? Nobody likes it. But is your heart big enough to take it in your stride? ठीक है यार. If necessary, call him an idiot in your mind. Why? The moment you say he's an idiot, you don't expect any wise comments from him anyway. No? If you expect, then he is not the idiot, you are. Okay? Is that person's opinion? ठीक है. Okay. So, in all these conditions, he says, yeah. Then what happens? You go one step more. This one step more is slightly different, okay? Up to now, this you can do it attitudinally with Karma Yoga Buddhi, etc. You can handle this, okay? With certain attitudes, a certain ability to laugh at yourself, okay? Not be dependent on people's opinion. Not to think that you should know everything about everything. See, this is a problem. We want to think we are good in everything. Whereas I am the first person to admit my computer skills are practically non-existent. That I can come on Zoom and take a class, do a recording, etc. Big thing. My computer skills are non-existent. Yeah. Sometimes I keep wondering, what is this CTRL? What is this ALT? पता नहीं लगता क्या ये. I'm not joking, I'm honestly saying this. Then I say, okay, when my friend comes over next time, I'll learn something more. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Caps lock I can understand. Tab left and right, I'm not too sure. Okay. PG up and down, what is that? Paying guest, I know. What PG? This is something else. What I'm trying to say is, you don't have to know everything about everything. It's okay. It's okay. Therefore, if somebody calls you an idiot or an ignorant character, it's all right. I don't have the last word in everything anyway. Yeah. So what does it matter? What does it matter? Okay. What does it matter? If somebody points out some limitation in my thinking, even if it is true, it's okay. It's okay. Use it as a chance to learn something if you want to. Or let it be. It's okay. Yeah, I'm ignorant about that. I don't know everything about everything anyway. Yeah. Then the next step he's talking about. Jnana Vijnana Triptatmaha Kutastaha Vichidendriyaha Yuktaha Ityachyate Yogi Samaloshta Shama Kanchanaha. A beautiful verse. He says, Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. Satisfied in the Atma. Okay? Satisfied with oneself. Who has found fulfillment in oneself. How? Jnana Vijnanena. Jnanam, Vijnanam both used together. Otherwise both can mean the same. But here he is using Jnanam and Vijnanam together. Therefore, Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. What is that? Okay? Jnana Vijnana Triptatma is simple. Jnanam there will stand for what you have heard from the scriptures, what you have heard from the Shastra, what you have heard from your Guru. Jnanam. Vijnanam is how much you have validated it. I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam Atma. Very good. How do you say that? Because my Guru said it. No. I have validated it, I know that to be true. So when jnanam and vijnanam is used together, this is the meaning of vijnanam. The knowledge that you have validated. Okay? The knowledge that you have validated. Yeah. There are a lot of things you can take in good faith. You don't have to validate it. Gunjan said it is 4 degrees in Delhi, night temperature. Should I really go to this thing, meteorological department website and all and check it out? Not necessary. She said it in good faith. I'll take it in good faith. Everything need not be validated. She's a lady who speaks the truth. Therefore, whatever she says is true. Fair enough. Good enough. Yeah. My Guru always speaks the truth. Therefore, if we say I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, I should be Satyam Jnanam. That is not enough. Okay. That's only belief. Okay. You have to validate it. You have to be able to echo that and says, yes, that is true. I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. I have followed the logic, I have followed the unfoldment, and I have seen the truth for myself. I have seen that truth. Then that truth I can own it up in meditation. That we will come to. Therefore, jnana vijnana triptatma, that person, kutastaha, he has recognized the Atma is kutastaha. Kutastaha has 2 meanings, broad meanings. One is kute tishtati. In all the changing phenomena, it remains. In all the problematic areas, it remains. Kute sharire tishtati iti. Because manifest here as the eye. Or kutavat tishtati. Like an anvil, it remains. Now, what's an anvil? Okay, if you go to a smithy in a workshop or even locals, people who make knives and instruments and all, if you go to see, okay, there's a flat metal thing. So he heats up the iron piece he has to work on until it is red hot, puts it on top of the anvil and keeps banging it with a hammer to the shape he wants it. So the anvil doesn't change, anvil remains as it is. All changes happen on top of the anvil. Similarly, the Atma doesn't change. All changes happen within, but the Atma itself unchanging. Kutastaha. Kutastaha vichitendriyaha. Now this person has got total mastery. Why? It's not attitude dependent. Because the Atma is like that. It allows everything to happen. Illumining everything that's happening. Therefore, once you know that, you are the same. Yuktaha iti uchyate yogi. That yogi has become yuktaha. Yuktaha, a person together. Because there is integration. Yogi means there is an integration. Okay. And yuktaha iti. Sama loshta ashama kanchanaha. Very interesting statement. Lot of problems have happened because of the statement. Samaha is the same to what? Loshtaha. Loshta is a clump of earth. Okay. Once the rainy water has dried up a bit, you go and take a clump of earth from the field. Loshtaha. Ashamaha. Ashama is a stone. Kanchanaha, a gold biscuit or a piece of gold. Sama. He is the same. Meaning what? Does it mean that once you gain wisdom, you will stop appreciating the objective value of a thing? When you want to grow a plant at home in your pot, what you need is Loshta, lot of earth. Gold will not help you there. You can't put a gold your ornament there and put a seed and water it and expect it to grow. It won't happen. You need Loshtaha. Okay. A stone you need for that purpose. You're building a house, etc. You need blocks. You need stone. That time earth will not help. You need a stone. Gold will not help. You're going to put gold bricks and build a house out. I don't think anybody is wealthy enough like that on this earth. And gold has its own value. I'm talking about objective value of all of them. The wise person appreciates the objective value of all of them, does not put a subjective value on it. Especially with gold. In India, gold carries a subjective value. That's why the price of gold in India is always higher than any other place on earth. This is a subjective value. Yeah. That's not an objective value. What is gold? Gold is gold, metal, high atomic weight, good conductor of electricity, has financial implications, financial value, because we live in a gold standard society. Not that everyone understands what gold standard means, but is a gold standard for money. Therefore, it has a value. True. More than that, what? And if the gold makes me look beautiful. If you are already beautiful, the gold will highlight your beauty. It only helps to underline and highlight if you are already beautiful. If you are not already beautiful, then gold will not help you, okay? And who is not beautiful anyway? Everyone is beautiful. In their own ways, in their own manner, everyone is beautiful. Therefore, that is why people feel enhanced with that. Subjective value comes in. Yeah, subjective value comes in. Yeah. Okay, to hear it, objective value. Since I'm saying something very objectively, all ladies should ask their husbands when they think they look the most beautiful. When does your husband, or if you don't have a husband, your boyfriend, okay, thinks you're the most beautiful? When you are dressed up like that, or at other times? When you are going through certain emotions? Ask. You'll be surprised with the feedback. If the guy is honest enough to give you the feedback, okay, either he has to be courageous enough or dumb enough to give you the feedback. Okay, then you will understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, an objective value is there, fine. It has got some financial value also today. It has got an investment value. All that you will recognize. Yeah, but yeah. When I have gone through the desert, 3 days without water, I will be willing to exchange a brick of gold for a bottle of water. The bottle of water will help me survive, not that gold. It is like the famous statement some kings made on the battlefield. A sword, half my kingdom for a sword. A sword is not that costly. No, but I lost my sword on the battle. Someone give me a sword, then I can save the half of my kingdom. The other half at least I will save. Is there a question or someone talking in the background? Okay. Okay. I don't know who this is. 1+. It's unmuted. Okay. Therefore, in that situation, to recognize the objective value of a thing and leave it at that. Every wise person does that. They are the same. Yeah. To appreciate the objective value, not add on subjective value to it. This is a wise person's functioning. Okay? Vijitendriyas, etc. All that is the same. You know why I am saying this? A lot of problems have been caused by that. There is a story going around, okay? I don't know how many of you have heard it. Some of you may have heard it. These students wanted to test their master. Someone came and told me this story years ago. Years ago, someone came and told me this story. The students wanted to test their master. Wrong thing to do, but whatever, it's okay, done. Okay. So what did they do? They found a gold coin, a proper gold coin, and put it under his pillow. When they are doing seva, they prepared the bed for the night. And the guru was very disturbed. Whole night he didn't get sleep, it seems. Why? Because there is a gold coin under his pillow which he didn't even know around. See how great my master is. This was told to me 40 years ago, when I was still a student, okay? So I said, okay, now where will students in an ashram get hold of a gold coin? Let us assume that some person, some pilgrim who had come to the ashram had dropped it somewhere. Okay, fine. Now that guy goes back home, he finds he has lost the gold coin and he cannot get sleep. He is disturbed. Your guru has a gold coin which he doesn't know about and he cannot get sleep. Who is better? Who is better out of the two? One person can't sleep because he gained a gold coin. He doesn't know it yet. The other person can't get sleep because he lost a gold coin. The second one at least is more pragmatic. Are you getting the idea? These type of stories don't do any credit to the guru. This problem all gurus suffer from. I try to keep it as less as possible. It is called devotitis. You know, extreme devotion, blind devotion of the followers. Thank God I don't have followers, I only have students and friends. Okay. Yeah, the blind, you make up stories like this to show your guru's greatness. And it becomes a problem. It's not his greatness that you're showing, it's a wrong idea. Okay, it's a wrong idea. Yeah. And, okay, should I say this? I think I should. Okay? Because you'll come across this and it will become a problem. There are some Mahatmas who contribute to this idea. Like I know one is a very popular speaker. He comes on the YouTube and all also. I know this guy personally. मैं तो पैसा नहीं छूगा. I will not touch money. All right. Then sit down quietly somewhere in Rishikesh. बैठो मस्तराम बाबा बन के. Go to the kshetra for food, come back. If you need soap, etc., go ask somebody, I need a soap. I mean, because if you're not going to touch money, and in the Bandara, when they give you dakshina, refuse the dakshina. Or ask your friend to take it, so that when you want a soap, you can ask your friend to go and buy you a soap. This is how we lived on dakshina. Those days, dakshina was what? $5, $10. But it is enough to make a living. You're talking more than 30 years ago, okay? 35 years or more. That is enough, okay? So, this person, paisa nahi chhuega. But he travels all over giving talks. So, this group I know called him for a talk. It is a company. He said, yes, I will come for that talk. You can fly me up and down. But you can't fly him alone. Why? पैसा नहीं छुएगा. So somebody has to handle money. So they had to fly his assistant, who will handle the money for him. So that group had to spend twice the amount they would normally spend. One plane ticket for him, one for his assistant. Because if the Mahatma requires some food on the flight, or some chai, tea, or some water, even a water bottle, you have to pay money, na? How will that happen? And the idiot who called him, the head of that organization, was telling me, look at what a great Mahatma he is. I said, yeah, he made you pay double, and you're becoming a fool with that. Right or wrong? Okay, I will call it out. These are all dhung. There is nothing great about this. Okay, there is nothing great about being like this. Yeah, you appreciate the objective value and leave it at that. Yeah, it cannot add an iota to your happiness, or unhappiness for that matter. Anything in the world cannot add to your happiness or contribute to your unhappiness. It can add to your comfort or discomfort. Physical comfort or discomfort, things can add. A relative financial security it can give you. Relative. Why? Because nothing is absolutely secure anyway. What is absolutely secure? Nothing. If because of the problem of the US currency and China and everything, internationally they decided to change the gold standard to something else. What? I don't know. Definitely not bitcoins. Okay. Bitcoins have an artificial pumped up value as of now. Tomorrow I don't know. As of now they have an artificially pumped up value. Okay. So supposing they change the gold standard, what will happen to your gold and your financial security? It will be half its value of what it is today. Minimum. Minimum you lose 50%. So what financial security are you talking about? Anything in the world is like that. Nothing can give you 100% security. A relative financial security you can have. Relative. And it is wise as human beings, if you have family, etc., to go for that relative security. It's wise. Fine. But don't add happiness to it. Don't say, I feel completely safe. It's okay. At this time, it will come in use. That's all. So, to appreciate the objective value of a thing. At the same time, not add your emotional being to it. Not add a value of fulfillment and happiness to that. Whatever is there outside. Samaloshtasma Kanchana is an example. It can be for anything and everything. People. I thought I could depend on this person. You can. But the most dependable person can let you down once in a way. Why? Because the person is not infallible. Simple as that. The most dependable person is also not infallible. So once in a way can make a mistake, can let you down. Yeah. Or your whole evaluation itself was wrong. The person is not dependable. In fact, that person is depending on you. This is like the story. This guy fell into the river from a boat and he is struggling to save himself. And he found a log of wood. Great, he held on to the log. Why? Dependable, log will always float, na? So until I am rescued, I will be floating in the river. But after a couple of minutes, he found the log holding on to him. It was not a log, it was a bear. And bear is allowed to float in the river. Now who is dependent on whom? Tell me. What happened to your sense of security? You're secure in the embrace of a bear. That's what happens to many people. Yeah. Okay. The sooner we recognize this. This is not to make us cynical in life. This is for us to objectively appreciate our life, remove a lot of false value systems, and know the truth. And once you know the truth, you can enjoy whatever is there and whatever is not there also. Why? You are Ananda. Therefore, you'll always live a life of full joy and fulfillment with whatever is there in life. With whatever is there or not there, that's also fine. You are Ananda, what does it matter? Yeah. It's like people asking me, Swamiji, you don't need a vacation? My whole life is a vacation anyway. Then what you're teaching in exam? So, when I'm teaching, I'm dipping in myself, no? Ananda, without seeing myself as Ananda and all of you as Ananda, how can I teach you? That's why I like to see. Okay. Therefore, why do you need a break from that? Yeah. Okay. Look at this. Up to now, he is all talking about all these things. Okay. He has not yet come to meditation. Okay. For that, there are 3-4 more verses before he comes to the actual meditation. And when we come to the actual meditation, we will do it here. Okay. In the class, I know with all that you're all on Zoom, etc. But that's okay. We will actually practice the meditation also. Okay. Some of my students are already doing Nididhyasanam, etc. They are fine. But it can be a bit of a revision if they want. Okay. We will see that. Any questions, any clarifications? Or is it all clear? Okay.
Looks well.
Think about it. Good place to stop. If there are any questions, clarification, etc., come back next time with it. Okay. Okay. Nice to be with all of you.
Thank
Om
you.
Tat Sat.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Swamiji.